So I had a whole list of questions, and I'm starting straight from the top.
Well,
And
I'm
you got
in.
you got a very successful business, and I want to know. And I saw that like 80+%, right, comes basically from referrals. How do you manifest that? What intentionality around that has allowed you to have such a high percentage? What are you doing?
And also, too, I want to make a correction. I'm not too sure where you got that, or maybe I said in the past. I'm not too sure. But to be honest with you, it's not so much of 80%. I would say that it's probably 60%. And then
Okay.
a lot of my other business comes from lead generation and promotion. So in
Okay.
terms of referrals, I'm super big on touching my people. So one of the things that I created was well, first is that I do events for them every month. So it's either I'm touching them in terms of a home buying seminar or a quick chat. So either I'm having my assistant reach out to them just to see, hey, what's going on? How's everything going or whatnot? Just touching bases with Olivia has her, because I have two. I have one for home buyers and then I have one for sellers. Either it's them doing investments or for them wanting to just sell. So with that system that we have in place, I feel as though it's really efficient to just keep the conversation going and staying top of mind. And then also I do client appreciation events. I love events in general too. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's kind of easy for me to kind of tailor my referrals, my referral partners, because my clients are referral partners. I think I like to refer them to that, especially after they already buy from me. Already pinning them in the category of thinking of referrals. So I call them referral partners. So pretty much I took my clients out on boats. I rented the boat out for to Lake Lanier. And then also I combined one of my client appreciations with my birthday. So they were able to meet my family. Yeah. And I just think that kind of pits more of a stronger connection than just
Amen.
transactional. So it's
Amen.
events and just making sure that I'm touching bases with them every month. It works.
Yeah. Yeah, staying connected. Now, what do you do? Because Monique is one of the most consistent members on here, besides my partners who are almost next door to me, Steve and Scott. What do you do to stay connected with your referral partners from around the country? Is that just a check-in or a call also?
So to be honest with you, for me per se, I do not do anything for my out of state referral partners, to be honest with you. But in terms of staying connected with my realtor industry, I'm super involved. So it's either with me. I just got elected to be on the ALC for KWS Atlanta. Shout out to KWS Atlanta. And then also of different real estate boards. I sat on GAR as a board director. I sat on the Northeast Atlanta Metro Association Realtors as a board director. I sat on the Women's Council Realtors of Gwinnett as the first vice president and membership director. I also served on the City of Louisville's Development Authority. And then also I served this year on the Young Professionals Network for the Cab Association Realtors. So in terms of really making sure that I'm staying connected with my realtor colleagues locally and state-wise, super big on that.
And you are so massive. I've never had a guest on that has this type of involvement in leadership, in different boards. Is that just the way your heart is led, or I clearly there is good business in doing good business, right?
Mhm.
And I think by being visible, has that been part of your mission, or it's just something that you fell into?
Well, that's a good question, Ben. Because one is it's where my heart is, and I'm super big in wanting to know because I've been in sales for a long time. Let me make that clear. So I started off in car sales, left car sales after I had my first daughter, couldn't do it anymore. Went into insurance, and then from there I got into real estate. So with me being in real estate, it's a field where it's just a lot of different angles to it. And it's ideal for you to want to understand who runs it in a sense when it comes to policies and when it comes to rules and regulations. So that's how I really fell into it. I'm super curious about things like that and wanting to make sure that my network consists of those type of people because I learned so many things going through it. I mean, the nature of just creating a ethical business plan is real, right? And making
Right.
sure that you are doing things in a good manner, especially when it comes to your realtor partners and when it just comes to the general public. So yeah, and then also I would say that I always tell people once you go somewhere, especially when it comes to like different events, sometimes you get sucked into it. And I think part of that was because when I went to my first women's council meeting, they were just like, "Oh my God, you got to get involved." And I think with how I already am, and then with that, it kind of just was a good marriage. So it's been a snowball effect since.
Well, I continue to lead because I love that about you, and it's interesting. I'm at an ALC event right now. I just skipped out so that we could have this conversation. So,
Well, thank you.
I think, yeah, again, I'm pretty fortunate. I've been with this company for 23 years, and I've been in a leadership position from ownership to ALC for at least I think 20 of the 23. So,
Wow.
I understand that, and I relate very well with that. So. You had touched on something a bit earlier, especially with your client events. They get a chance to meet your family, and I know family is so important to you. And I saw a chat that you had about, I guess, being reared by a single mother, right?
Oh,
How the speech I saw was so powerful, and I feel like it drives you, right?
sorry.
Um, it drives you, right? So speak to that for a second.
Okay, in terms of my upbringing, or
Yeah, I think you're bringing, and I think, clearly it's helped develop who Olivia is, because you got a very strong sense of I think of family and not letting your circumstance dictate
Mhm.
your current outcome,
Mhm.
right? Because I'm like, you were speaking to these kids, and it's like, oh no, no, you can come from a bad background or this or that, but right, but don't let that derail your trajectory. And
Mhm.
so I mean, I listened to that 3 times. Just
Mhm.
want you to know, because I was motivated by it. And I know, sometimes that drives at athletes, it drives business owners. Clearly, I think it's driven you.
Mhm. For sure. So yes, having those circumstances of coming from a single parent background, also just making sure that in our generation and generations before us and after us is big that we start to nip things in the bud, right? Especially when it comes to the younger generation. I realized that if someone really would have sat me down and told me about real estate and told me that, you know what, things might not be looking so good right now, but things could get better. And you have the control to do that. And I think from there, having that confidence and just knowing that you are the controller and some situations, some circumstances can happen, but at the end of the day, you make the difference. And honestly, I think that having that type of passion and drive, it can outstand anything. It can outstand anything. And I think a lot of that has to do with how I move in real estate too, because I came from places and things like that just that weren't the best. And literally, I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of change that needs to happen. So I can take on a lot of different challenges when it comes to that. And just having tough skin, honestly,
Amen.
having tough skin.
Well, and I see, and again, I'd say leadership, mentorship is so important to you. Um,
Mhm.
Folks just reach out to have you come to schools? Is that something that I don't know, that you reach out? Because I think, again, and I'm talking with family here, I think it's important for us, especially for young kids, to see that we don't have to spit rhymes. I don't have to catch footballs, right? In order to be, a successful business person. That's what I got from those speeches. I've had, some opportunities myself to deliver some of those messages. And I think it's vital for our community to see the face of, leadership, right? What being a successful business person looks like. And there's
Mhm.
so many ways to succeed. And I think clearly it's important to you.
Yes, very important to me. So when it came to my mentorship program that I created, and really, I went back home. I'm from Gainesville, Florida. I went back to my high school. My high school is a Title I school, predominantly Black. And very low income, and crime, a lot of different things, right? So knowing that I was in a system that really isn't designed to produce successful people unless it's someone that was in our IB program, or if it's someone that was in sports or whatnot, a lot of other people kind of just fall by the wayside, right? So I knew that going back home, I was like, hey, what can I do now that I'm at a position where I can give back, and I can make a difference? So I went back to my high school, and my vice principal was like, hey, look, I have a group of girls. They need help, and those group of girls happen to be girls, single parents, or being raised by their grandma or auntie or whatnot. They're not being raised by their parents. Well, biological parents, I would say at that point, because a grandma could be a parent too, right? But in terms of just really just getting into a lot of trouble. So it literally stemmed from that. And I seen um the challenges that this younger generation is going through, and knowing that, okay, if this school that I grew up with is going through it, who knows what people are going through in a state like Georgia, right? Especially with different cities and things like that. So, and I come from a small town. If you know anything about Gainesville, it's not a big town. So I only can imagine with people twice as three, four, or five times as many people, and then people coming from different areas. So it's a melting pot out here, which can also be a lot on children growing up in this area. So from there, that's when we took on the mission to start making sure that we are in these high schools and teaching these kids, predominantly Title I schools. That's what we target. And so a lot of my teammates, they grew up here in Georgia. So they've been reaching out to their database, and that's how we've been able to spread the word in terms of what we're doing. But
That's fantastic.
yes, yes, yes. But that's where my passion is. I realize you got to stop the cycle. The cycle has to
Amen.
stop somewhere, and entrepreneurship is definitely a route that just isn't talked about in schools, because high school, I mean, college isn't for everyone. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
Let's be real, and also the children nowadays, they're different. They're growing up through TikTok and Instagram and digital currency and all types of ways to get money besides going through the traditional way of getting money, which is doing 9 to 5 or getting a college degree or whatnot. So just running off of their energy along with
Yes.
what I do now. And what I do now has been very successful, thank God. So really just between their energy and then some just guidance, help and assistance, it can make a big difference. So one person at a time is what we've been that's our mantra. One person at a time.
And you had mentioned your teammates. What
Mhm.
is that? What does that organization look like? Is there
Yeah.
two of you guys, 10 of you guys? What does that look like?
Yes. So my team consists of course, realtors. I have three realtors with me right now, realtor partners. And then I do have a staff. So I have an executive assistant, which is someone that actually comes in the office with me and they work alongside with me. And then I also have an administrative assistant, which is virtual. I have a transaction coordinator and then a community manager. So literally, between all of us, this is why we're able to do the things that we've been doing. I feel like the more the merrier. Real estate is just so abundant that it gives you the opportunity to build relationships with like-minded people. So,
Now, you're a community manager. I had created a very similar position for my son, who uh, has now been on another career path for the last three weeks. So, what do they are they responsible for? Helping with your events, or specific are their roles?
all of that, all of
Okay.
that. Either it's just reaching out to people and organizations that we're wanting to speak with or just build relationships with. They're also, and it's a woman, and it's crazy because I sold her home, and now she's in the midst of getting into real estate. So that's why she took on this position, because she's from Georgia. She knows what certain communities need, right? And she's willing to take on the role of making sure that all of these community know that we're here for them. She sets up our food drives. She sets up everything for us in terms of community awareness and community
Okay.
involvement. So I
I
have
love
someone dedicated just for that.
I love that.
Mhm.
I know I've just had question after question. So I'm sure there was something that that was on your heart that you were that maybe you were wanting to share today. So before I dominate all of our time together, what is that, or is there something, in particular?
Yes, and there's quite a few things I would just say in terms of being prepared for 2025. 2025, for me, and the research I've been doing is that it should be fruitful. It really should, despite the different things coming up with NAR and all that good stuff, which we've been rolling with the punches so far through this settlement. But I just say that it's a situation where professionalism and confidence is key. Marketing is big. Where are you going to market? How are you going to market? And lead generation is huge. And making sure that you're staying dedicated to that lead generation and your marketing plan. Branding is super big, especially with so many people within real estate. You want to make sure that you're doing things that first off sets you apart. Next, making sure that you are identified as a brand and a company, which you are as a independent contractor. And I can't stress that enough. Sometimes realtors, they don't understand that we are literally independent contractors. So with that being said, you have your own identity, and that's something that you have to sell, really, honestly, right? So different things like making sure that you have a logo, making sure that you have an LLC and operating through that LLC for your real estate, making sure that you have a business account along with that LLC. It's crazy to know that some people don't operate out of their business account for real estate. And there's so many different expenses that come with it, right? And making sure that for 2025, you're treating your business like a business. Lastly is professionalism right now. And I think that's one of the reasons is, and I don't think I know this is one of the reasons why we are facing these challenges with NAR because professionalism is huge. And sometimes we lack that. So I believe that if you're transparent, meaning that you're putting your clients on the path that you want them to go through, meaning that you're doing your consultations, meaning that you're breaking down these forms and agreements to them because it's big that they understand what's going on. Making sure that you're staying in good communication with them. I can't stress the fact that I've had people tell me that, oh my God, I haven't heard from my realtor in weeks. I'm like, how is that? I have a drip campaign on my people. Every week they're getting something. Either it's recipes or it's this or it's events that we have going on. Definitely stay communication for me, just it's a two-way street, of course, right? But in terms of what we're doing as realtors, it's a big thing in order to make sure that we're moving effectively in 2025 for our business. Okay. And then lastly, I would just say growing your network, getting more involved with your local and state organization. I mean, your local and state associations. I can't stress the fact that because I was so involved with the realtor associations, it made me a better businesswoman to be able to serve my clients. So everything goes hand in hand. And also making sure that you're working your vendors, work your vendors, and make sure that you have vendors, right? Either using your brokerage ones or it's ones that you're just meeting throughout being in real estate. Super important. And making sure that you're really utilizing all of your resources because honestly, in this field of real estate, it's just endless. Endless, endless, endless. So making sure that you're understanding that there's help out there and making sure that you're utilizing that help. And that's it in terms of my spill.
Well,
That's it.
those are words of wisdom for sure. You had spoke on branding, and I think because I had a few more questions. I'm glad you were able to get that out. The buy or die behind you. I feel like that's your brand. I've seen so many videos where you reinforce that, and
Mhm.
also the let's the whole hold on. I want to make sure I recited it properly. It's talking about let's own a piece of America together. Explain that together. Clearly, I think you're leading the way. You own a piece of property or two or three, I'm sure yourself.
Mhm.
And so I feel like it all ties in together, buy or die, and let's buy a piece of the American dream together. Speak on that briefly.
Yes. So buy and die originally was created due to the fact that I realized just being a consumer, being a citizen, being a realtor, we don't ask enough questions. All right. And because we don't ask enough questions, I think that we are led into certain pathways that we really did. So the reason why I'm so strong about leadership and I have strong opinions about making sure that we get proper information, it led to buy or die. And right now I'm taking upon myself to start asking more questions in terms of our local associations and whatnot in NAR. Also making sure that consumers understand their true value as being a hardworking citizen. If you look at what's going on with the way that these companies are buying up these properties from us, right? Us people not having the understanding of generational wealth. Like even with my family, and it's crazy, my grandmother just passed, and my family didn't have a will. My grandmother didn't have a will. And then
Not
come to find
uncommon.
out, my grandfather didn't have a will. And my family owns 40 acres in a small town, yep, outside of Gainesville, Florida. And now we're dealing with probate. Right? So just letting people understand that those small little things makes a difference when it comes to how you protect your generational wealth. So right now we are racing against time and making sure that we are properly telling people that, hey, there's going to be a time where we can't buy or regular people
Mhm.
can't buy anymore. And we see it now. When I first came to Georgia 13 years ago, you could buy a property for like $50,000 in Atlanta, 40, $30,000 in Atlanta. Now those same properties are 150. And those properties are rehab properties. So it's going to be money that you're going to have to put back into it. Right. So that American dream is slowly slipping through our fingers. And then also when it comes to let's own a piece of America together, I am a born American, okay? I'm a proud American. And my family has fought for everything that I've gotten. So as Americans, we have to start taking back what's ours, right? So when I say let's own a piece of America, that's what I mean. Taking back what was taken from us and making sure that we're pinning it back to the future that comes after us. And that's honest. Because it's about the
And
future generation. I'm not working for me, I'm working for my kids and their
right.
kids. Honestly.
Well, and it's
Not
interesting
to be a
because
renter. I'm sorry, not to be a renter.
right, right. Yeah, and I think that we speak on legacy today because that's part of our vernacular that we really didn't speak on 35 years ago when I got in this business. We didn't speak about legacy, and I feel like one of, who benbaker is respected legacy. I want my grandkids and my great grandkids to know who I am, that I made an impact, and hopefully I gave them an opportunity to compete, right?
Mhm.
Um, I'm proud of those things, and I, not to be political, but I've been telling folks that we need to get back to being Americans first, not left, right, Democrat, Republican. It breaks my heart that I feel like we've lost that, and we got to get back to it. And I love the American flag there to your left, and I'm
Get
like,
down to the
that's
root,
right.
to the root of
Amen. Amen. Well, it's powerful. Keep doing you. I love it. I'm so anxious to hopefully get a chance for us to break bread or see each other. Christina, I think what happened, Olivia, I loved your post, and I saw so many people chimed in on your post, but I think it said 11:30. So, Christina, we're probably going to get a number of folks chiming in at 11:30, not 10:30, but that's okay. So
Wait a
they'll
minute.
be able to see this recording. Yeah. Yeah.
It said, well, hold on. So the time frame was not 11:30.
Yeah. I think you said 11:30, probably Eastern, which is 10:30 us. I
Oh,
think you might have said that, but I'm thinking that might be the confusion, Monique, because this is the smallest crowd we've had. and you're one of the most powerhouse leaders I've had. So I think there's a confusion, and that's okay because they'll be able to get it from YouTube
Oh,
or from a YouTube channel. So
no.
it's not a problem at all. So,
Well,
and I appreciate you.
okay, I apologize for that confusion
Oh, yeah,
too.
no, oh no, oh no, no, that's my best guess. That's my best guess because I had so many of your friends all chime in, right? And they're like, "Oh, go ahead, girl." Like, yeah, I'll be there. And I think that might be why they're not here yet, but I expect that I'm going to get a notice, and that's okay. So, two things real quick.
Mhm.
So, who does do you guys do your social media, or do you hire someone outside of that? Outside of your organization to help with your social media?
Are you saying more so like the content of it?
I think the content, the videos that I've seen,
Okay.
especially for me, everything I've seen kind of behind the podium, again, I think that's purposeful, I'm
Mhm.
guessing, and it's powerful. That's something you guys are doing in-house, or do you have, again, a company that handles your social media?
So there's two parts to it. One part being that I have a production team, I have a cinematographer,
Okay.
and I have a brand ambassador too. So between
Okay.
those two powerhouses, yes, that is how a lot of my content is created. Now, in terms
Okay.
of like posting and just engagement, that's organic.
Okay.
So, well, my personal account is organic, but for the other accounts that I have, my assistant handles that. So
Okay.
between my assistant, me, and then that production team, that's how I guess that's how we're able to run it. I guess if that's what you're saying.
Absolutely. I think it's powerful. And I'm like, Christina and I, we're trying to get better at that, especially moving forward. So Christina she's my right hand, who you probably see her on the screen. Wave your hand, Christina. So yes. So it's just a growth opportunity for me. And I was just curious if, again, if you're hiring that outside, if you're, like I said, if it's pretty organic, and it sounds like it is. So I got to get better at that. So I appreciate you sharing. Anything else you want to leave us with?
And also to thank you for that as well, because social media, who knew that social media would be what it is today? You
Right?
know? Um,
Right.
and I'm coming from a generation where posting and engaging and content and all of that wasn't a thing. It was more so just being in communication with each other. That's how my generation took social media at that time, like MySpace and stuff like that. But I would say Canva is great, especially for that, because Canva is pretty cool. Especially you're able to do it on the desktop and you're able to do it on your phone. Super friendly, and also you're able to schedule your content too. So you can choose your content and just put it on the calendar and let it just do its own thing. Especially if you're just wanting to get more frequency in your posting. I feel like Canva is really great too. And Chat GPT. For those who may not want to, figure out what to put underneath their post or whatnot, Chat GPT is awesome. And really should be our best friend if you don't already have that application. And then also I would say that to leave us with some words of encouragement, I would say that 2025 is our year to show out as realtors. Okay. Honestly, we have to stand up and we have to start taking back what's ours. We sell houses. We are the professionals. Okay. And no one can take that away from us. And I'll leave us with that. We are risking
Right.
it all for 2025. I like what I was telling you earlier. I
Right.
encourage everyone to get more involved. Honestly, get more involved and start asking questions. Start asking more questions. I feel as though even if you're a new realtor or old realtor or whatnot, it's huge. I mean, I don't want to say old realtor, I'm going to say seasoned. So I'm going to correct myself on that. Seasoned realtor. We have to
There you
start
go.
asking questions. Yeah, I have to correct myself on that. Because it's not old,
Yes.
you're seasoned.
There you go.
So no. But yeah, I just think that the more questions we start asking and the more professionalism that we start bringing within our own businesses is going to make a big difference. And everything that's going on, all the noise out there, we're going to be able to tread through and be very successful. We just have to kind of go through a couple of dodges or whatnot. But honestly, we dominate this field, and nothing or anything will stop us from being able to make sure that our industry is protected and that we are doing the right things by our clients. Biggest thing I can leave us with. So I wouldn't, if anyone's out there is feeling a little discouraged about the different changes that's coming on, bump it. As long as you're prepared and making sure your business plan and how you're gonna run your business is efficient, we'll be able to get through these this little turbulence, I'll say.